Alright, the Palm Pre. Is this considered one of the most innovative phones in the last 20 plus years? Some might say yes, considering it came with WebOS, wireless charging, keyboard, home button, swipe up. It came with a lot of things that made this phone top tier for that time. Either way, today we're going to dive into what made Palm Pre such an innovative device. This is the unboxing gadget. Let's get it. Ooh, there it is, the Palm Pre. This thing was always so glossy. Man, fingerprint magnet. Either way, let's check this out. Now, of course this phone is an older phone, so the CPU, the specs, the memory, everything's a little outdated. I remember it came with a 600 megahertz CPU. The memory was only in megabytes. It had a flash memory storage, 8 gigs. The battery was small. The display wasn't the best, but at that time, it was top tier. The camera was 3.2 megapixel. You know, at that time, very high-end specs, but today, of course, doesn't stand up. And man, I always thought the keys were a little too close together. I think BlackBerry did a little bit better job with the key placement. And then you had this curved screen, which was really fragile. But either way, let's dive in and see what's in the box. We have manuals on manuals on manuals. It's kind of refreshing having this many manuals. You know, with the phones compared to today, you don't get anything except the box. Maybe they included guides to really help navigate the new WebOS at the time. But the fact that they gave us this many guides is pretty cool. Alright, so let's see what else we got. We got a carrying case, which is really nice. It's going to be hard to believe this much stuff came with a phone at that time. If you guys remember, phones used to be on a 2-year contract. And honestly, I kind of wish they would go back to that. I meant getting a full retail phone for $199, you keep it for 2 years. It wasn't a bad gig at that time. I mean, now I think this phone would be $549 for the time back then. But if you calculate inflation, it would equate to $794, which isn't too bad considering this was a flagship phone for that time. And you know, phones now are upwards of $1,000 or more for flagship devices. Alright, and the remaining stuff that comes in the box, we get a micro USB-C cable, we get the AC phone charger, and we got a stereo headset. Pretty cool. And of course, the battery separate, lithium-ion battery that you can swap in and swap out. Pretty cool. Alright, so let's move on to getting this thing turned on. Alright, so small disclaimer before I try to turn this thing on. Now this phone is 15 years old, so the chances of this battery working are slim to none, but we're gonna see. And it's funny that back in the day they gave you recycling bags, which now, do people even recycle their phones? Or do they just keep them? How's that work? But the fact that they gave us a bag back then was funny. But either way, let's see how this goes and get this thing turned on. Now, while we wait for this thing to hopefully get charged up, let's quickly talk about WebOS, which was showcased in 2009 as an operating system which took a different take on running apps that can be managed by swiping up and down. Now, if you look at the Palm Pre, it had a drawer, and the drawer was used to swipe up and down, kind of like iPhone, if it sounds familiar. iOS software that included the feature wasn't actually announced yet, so at this time, managing active apps through Palm Pre was actually an innovative thing, but it didn't even stop there. It also had synergy, and your contacts and backups could all be synced to a cloud via Palm, so hey, who did it first? And then also those apps, or those contacts and backups could be accessed on your PC or Mac. So that was pretty cool. And you can also see your battery life remained on the Palm Pre. It had Wi-Fi, Bluetooth toggles, swipe down. I mean, it had very similar things to iOS at the time, which made it pretty cool. Okay, so I got some good news and some bad news. Which one do y'all want to hear first? Bad news, you say? Alright, so the bad news is I can't get past the activation screen. It's almost like Sprint network is still around or something. But either way, can't get past the activation screen. But the good news is it's turned on. So the battery still works after being in the box for 15 years, which is pretty cool. So drop a comment below if anyone knows how to bypass this activation screen. I highly doubt anyone does, considering this phone's 15 years old and no one's using it, which makes perfect sense. But if anyone still tampers with old phones, drop a comment below. Now, I know some of you are going to be a little disappointed that I didn't get to show the WebOS in this video, but if anyone knows how to bypass that activation screen, maybe I'll do a follow-up video showing the WebOS and, you know, all the different features. But either way, hope you guys kind of enjoyed this nostalgia view of the Palm Pre. Also, drop another comment of your memories of the Palm Pre, and did you get one back then? Did you want one? Was it a device that you were actually looking at in the past? But either way, this was the unboxing gadget. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.